Hello, everybody. It's Ronco Johnson. This is When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? Hey, sit back, relax, and unwind. We got a cool show coming up for you. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about smooth jazz. We're going to talk about the lifestyle with our featured guest, saxophonist and business owner, Ronco James. So sit back, relax, and unwind. It's your boy, Ronco Johnson, keeping you company for the next 45 minutes. This is When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? I'll see you inside. Come on in. Hey, what's happening to everybody? It's Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle focused advisor here. This is When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? Man, I cannot tell you how excited I am to have our special guest in the house, in the studio today. Man, you guys won't believe how difficult it was to just get my hands on this man, right? I've been promising you for a long time. We're going to talk about some positive jazz music. We're going to talk about some money. We're going to talk about the lifestyle. Yes, it is important, y'all, but this is it's the opportunity for you guys to meet. And it is a pleasure for me to introduce today's guest. He's my buddy. He's my friend. He's the owner of the Morning Sunset Music. He's a saxophonist, an educator, a music lover, songwriter, an artist, Mr. Ron James. Ron, what's happening with you, buddy?
Well, first of all, I didn't know I was all of those things. So thank you.
Man, listen, as they say, you're one of a kind. You're the one of a kind musician that everybody can jam out to, relax to. And you're absolutely one of my favorites, and you're a good person as well. So I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you, man. It's great to be here. It's great to be a part of, this platform that you have here. It's great, man. It's great.
Well, look here. We're going to get it started off right. We want to thank everybody and welcome everybody to the room. This is, like I said, this is When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? We're going to talk about some money and music. And this is our special guest today, Ron James. But before we get started, I want to make sure that all of our guests do a few things, a little house cleaning. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Don't keep it to yourself. And if you would be kind, hit the notification bell. That way you can get all our fresh content. And if you do want to say a little something to us, if you're watching the replay or just chilling at home and you think you want to make a comment to either myself or our guest today, do me a favor. Put the words takeaways. Takeaways. That's right. Because you never know what he's going to say. You never know what I'm going to say. We're dropping a whole bunch of knowledge and a whole bunch of nuggets for you on this podcast. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it, Ron. Man, how are you, first of all?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. I am trying to stay as healthy as I possibly can over the age of 50.
50.
I hit 50 last October, and yeah, health concerns were a thing from before, but it's like now, got to get serious. You got to buckle down because, yeah, it's you go down now. It's like it take a while to get back up. So
hey, listen, man, we're gonna go into it all the way about it because 50 things just when you wake up, things just start not working. I mean, you wake up, your arm's just not attached. I don't understand.
Let's talk about when you wake up and you feeling good. And you get out of bed and your body is just making noises. Just like random noises.
That started for me well before
like,
50.
Yeah. What, noises. Just
Yes. Yes. That's a lights out moment when you're noisy. Hey, listen, I tell you, when I try to tell people, and they say, hey, what are you doing? I'm grinding. Let's change the vocabulary. If you're grinding, it's not working. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in a car and you're riding around and it starts grinding, you probably want to get out of that car and get into
Yeah.
something riding smooth, right?
Yeah. Something's up with your pistons or your rotors. Something's up with your brakes. Something's
that's correct.
wrong.
Something wrong, right?
Something's
So
wrong.
when something's cracking and your knees are buckling and going on, I mean, you better start looking to get some new stuff. You know what I mean?
Or shedding some stuff. Pounds.
Yes.
I know I did that, and it did help a lot. It did help.
You look fabulous, brother. How much did you lose? Because we're talking lifestyle now. We're not just talking money.
I went from about 260 to like 200. Wow. Maybe a little less than 200.
Wow.
I've gained some of that back. I'm back up to like 210.
Okay.
But it has made a massive difference.
I would imagine that would be a different level of performance for you. How has that impacted your performances?
I have more energy. At that 260 point, that was my biggest. That was my heaviest. And even though I carried it okay, because I'm 6'2", but still at the same time, it was a lot of weight on me.
Sure.
So after losing it, I found that I had more energy on stage, just energy in general. My knees weren't cracking as much. Of course, clothes were falling off me, So people were looking at me, ooh, you got the big C?
Credit. Yes, I got big credit. I got great credit.
That is true. Yeah. But yeah, it was eye-opening as well as helpful to lose the weight. Yeah.
So what did you do? What was that pivot moment where you said, okay, listen, I'm a little overweight. I need to go ahead and make this decision right now. One of the things that I can say about our broadcast, we're talking about people making decisions and people making decisions to, one, better health, better wealth, better fitness, and better relationships. All these things have come full circle for you. Now, I know more about you, but tell our guests a little bit how that worked. What was that point for you?
Well, I had gone I was experiencing some health problems and went to the doctor, and he said, "You're diabetic." I'm like, no, I'm not. I love sweets. Love the sugar. The most addictive substance, even more so than cocaine.
Right.
Sugar. So when he told me that, I was like, nah, this can't be. I contacted my uncle, may he rest in peace. And he told me, he's a holistic doctor out in Hawaii. Well, was. And I contacted him and told him what the doctor said. And he said, let me send you some stuff. He sent me some herbs and a cleanser. He said, if you can do this cleanse for 7 days, I said, I could do it for as long as needed. So he gave it to me. I did the 7-day cleanse. I was drinking a lot of water, a lot of fluids. The cleanse was mostly drinking. So I wasn't eating anything for 7 days. It was just a lot of drinking. Of course, my energy levels went up and down when that happened. But I lost a lot of weight during that 7 days. It wasn't the full 60, but it took me on that trajectory to lose the weight. I ate different after I did that cleanse. Mm-hmm. I was like vegan, no meat,
all vegetable, no meat,
all vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nothing processed. I did that for like 2 weeks after that. And then I did something crazy.
What's that?
I did another cleanse. I wouldn't suggest anybody doing that. But after doing that vegan
thing, all in, committed.
Man, I was terrified, more like.
Yes.
I was terrified of that result of diabetes. Right now, I'm cool with it because my parents are both diabetic,
right,
on both sides.
Right.
So it's like either you're careful and you don't get it, or you're not careful, which I wasn't, and you're going to get it, which I did. So it is controllable. It is something that is I can live with and do,
Manage.
and turn it around, so to speak. But knowing in my head that it is a part of me, I'm cool with that now. It's a different
Well,
thing.
it's good to hear that you got an idea of what it is and how to manage it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a testament to you that you've approached it and you started to talk about it. Because if I can be frank, more people need to start talking about their issues, because there's answers out here that you don't have to necessarily get from the doctor's office. I'm not saying that you don't go to the doctor if you need to. You should. However, there are some things that you can do on your own. And
there's a lot of people out there going through what you or I am going through.
Absolutely.
And if you just spoke up, somebody would say, hey, man, I've been through that too. I tried this, that, and it worked for me.
Correct.
There you have another thing. I know a young man, I won't say his name, but a young man who is a type 1 diabetic, and he's been that way. You get type 1 early on. And he has to wear the patch and stuff like that, and the monitor, I should say. Right. And he lives with it in a way that's so positive. He's like a role model for the younger kids who have diabetes, early onset diabetes. And, so it says you take this thing that people look at as negative and you make it a positive. You become a light, a beacon for that cause.
Correct.
Yeah, he's a great example.
You and I have known each other for a long time, and you're very aware of my lights out moment back in the day. So
been a while, man.
It's been a while, and I don't mind sharing. I think sharing. I went on a speaking tour and started to share my story, and it lasted us 3 years. And the impact, you just never know by you just living your life, that you become that example for other people, and some type of inspiration and somebody's hope that they can continue to keep doing what they need to do. Recently, I had a little scare of my own, and you and I talked about it off camera. I've lost almost 60 pounds myself, and the first thing was the diabetes. I'm not diabetic, but I was drinking apple juice every morning. The big thing's the apple juice. And I remember going into the doctor, and he would say, hey, man, I think you're almost insulin dependent. And I said, whoa, I am not. And he said, you're in denial. I said, no, I'll tell you what, you give me a few days, give me 60 days or so, and let's do this checkup again. And I said, the only thing in my diet was that I went and picked up these large orange juices and apple juices every morning. And I would think that I'm drinking juice, right?
Right.
Well, you're drinking nothing but sugar. Okay. And once I got that away from me, it was pretty easy because I was scared to death too.
Yeah.
And I've had a heart condition for many years that I know that I won't ever get rid of. But once I started to do that, my A1C went completely down to normal. And then just recently, I said, well, I'm going to get these meals. And I know one of your passions is food. We're going to talk about it. So I started getting processed foods, right? Processed foods that supposed to be chef prepared and all the good stuff and the moderate size. And guess what happens? Sodium.
Yeah.
Your blood pressure goes through the roof.
Yeah, an amazing amount of sodium. They have to make them taste good or they won't sell. So they have to put sodium or some byproduct of it in the food.
That's not good when you're a large guy,
no sir,
former athlete, and you walk and you drink water and you do all the things every single day, and all of a sudden you're a candidate for everything they want to sell you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? You put those boxes of food down and you start back cooking.
Right.
and doing it the right way. So
Yeah.
tell us about your passion while I'm on that topic. I know you like food. So how hard was it for you to change your diet?
Hard, because I like to, like I said, I have a sweet tooth that's crazy. But I also like to try new foods, to try new restaurants and go here and go there and try, new things. That's always been a thing for me. So with a diagnosis of diabetes, you think a little differently. But as I learned recently through a nutritionist, there's still a lot of things you can do
Okay.
with diabetes. It's about how you eat as much as what you eat. So in a regular sense, you go to the dinner table and the first thing you do, you start eating. What do you go for first? I don't know. Maybe the mac and cheese. I don't know.
Pasta.
Instead of doing that, drink water first. And after you drink the water, go straight for your protein. So that will be in your system first, and your body will start processing that first, which will make the body feel good. The last thing I eat is starches, if any. That's the last thing I eat. So by the time I get to that, I'm like almost full. I'm almost satisfied. So I'm like, I ain't eating as much. I'll eat a little bit of it. But if you start with the starches, your body's working on that instead of working on the protein or the vegetables or, the good stuff.
That's really interesting. Our bodies, when we're born, we don't come with instructions or directions, no. Right? But you said something that's really critical there is learning when to put certain things in your body and in a certain order. Mm-hmm. And like you said, drinking water or eating your fruits and vegetables when you first wake up in the morning, or learning to go to sleep or trying to be somewhere where you can get the right amount of sleep when the sun goes down. That's not necessarily your life, but
that's a problem, man. That's a problem.
Well, if you can get 7, 8 out of 10 of them right, then you're doing pretty decent. But you're absolutely correct. You do get a lot of cardio as a musician.
Not enough.
No,
but we do get a lot.
Really?
I mean, it's like, okay, my dad, he worked a job in a factory as an electrician for 20 plus years, maybe more.
Okay.
And no, it had to be 30 years. Anyway, he worked there and would walk miles up and down that factory every day. And he said, yeah, that's my workout. Not really. A focused workout, there's nothing like it.
Right.
There's nothing like going into a gym or at home even and focusing on working muscles, working your cardio and all that stuff. You can see it in guys like, them, Jay Fly, T. Lee, Clarence Hill. I mean, all these guys, they're like rip big. And you're like, why would you need to do that? We do a lot of work. We do go back and forth, but still. It's always a matter of health if we do stuff away from music and are working out and taking care of ourselves and our cardio and our health and our diet and everything like that.
That's absolutely right.
Because it's so hard. Sorry to cut you. It's so hard if you're touring or if you're traveling with music to get food on the road. And that's a fight. To get healthy food at a truck stop.
Oh, wow.
It's not easy. Every once in a while, you'll find some fresh fruits and vegetables, but it's not all the time.
I'm glad you brought it up. Tell us a little bit about the lifestyle of a musician, because most people think, you're just on stage, you see all the people signing autographs and everything is cozy. But when you're on the road, when the lights go out.
Yeah. So every musician has a different experience. For instance, I have never done like a major world tour. I've never done it. I've been successful in music, but I've never done a major world tour like some of my brothers have. from my perspective, doing corporate events, doing my own personal gigs and stuff like that, it gets it's always difficult to find, if you're on a diet, a specific diet or a lifestyle change, to find stuff that you want to eat.
Right.
So if I'm a vegan, God bless you. The vegans out there, God bless you. Really, all there is to eat is rice paper. I mean, there's like parchment paper, maybe. There's like nothing to eat out there for them. They'll find some fruits and vegetables that someone may consider fresh, but they won't really be, you know? Yeah, it's just vegetarian, vegans, pescatarians, so hard. So hard. If someone says they don't want to eat fried food and they on the road, God bless you.
That's tough. That is really tough because your selection it's just not there.
You say thank you, Jesus, if you see a Panda Express, and that's not even the greatest food. But
again, you start to talk about preservatives and things that are in your food that you may not necessarily need.
Right.
And that's when the bottle of water becomes really important, just to fill you up, hopefully, until you get there. I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm right there with you. So those people
fill it up like 3 times a day at least.
I'm right here with you. So, I think what happens is sometimes people think we're not always paying attention to our issues behind the scenes, but realistically, we're all just real people. We all have lights out moments. We all have real things and events that happen. It's not that we are not paying attention to them. We have real issues, you're from New York, right?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I was raised in Miami. I'm more a Miami guy than a New York guy.
Okay. So you're more of a Miami guy. So the lifestyle from Miami to where you are now, obviously it's a little bit different. You got the water versus being in Georgia. And you got the bikinis and the beaches and all the things like that that's down there, right? You don't have that here. You don't have it here. You don't have it here.
Well, you got the bikinis here in Georgia. You just don't got the beach.
You don't have the beach. Stay tuned for our lifestyle-focused Bikini Jazz Festival hosted by me, Ronco Johnson, and special guest Ron James is going to be there on his saxophone.
Yeah, man.
That would be one heck of a concert. But talk about your latest. Congratulations! Since I've seen you, I know that you have had the opportunity to jump the broom. Your wedding nuptials, he is off the market. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. How long have you been married?
It's been a couple months, since October. Yeah.
October, man. Listen, congratulations to the two of you.
Thank you.
And that's awesome. So seems like during the pandemic, all of us were away from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you were fortunate enough to get closer to a certain person.
Yeah.
Because you have more time?
No, I think it was just not because of that time, just because it was time. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily because pandemics happened, let's get closer. It was more so we had known each other for years prior to that. We had actually dated before. And it was actually before the pandemic when we started to, actually get closer. So it was just time. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about love for a moment. Love is one of those things. I hear you guys say it from the stage a lot of times. You want to take your time with certain things. You want to let that music of love marinate just for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I think in today's society, the swipe left society, everything is so quick. That
microwave.
Exactly. And the microwave ain't good for you. Look, it's killing what's alive.
It ain't good for heating up food.
Exactly. You're losing it. You killed the food whatever was good
Yep.
for you, you killed it before you even take it in your body.
You ever heat up a sauce in the microwave and then heat up a sauce on the stove? When it comes off the stove, the steam coming out of it, it stays hot longer. You come out the microwave, there's a little steam coming off of it, and then it gets cold. Nobody ever recognizes that because they shove it down their throat. But yeah, I don't like microwaves.
Well,
and likewise, in life, I like to take time.
You know, I think there's parity in what you just said. If we call it the microwave society, right? Well, if you think about it, more relationships end in divorce because we're basically cooking our relationships in the microwave.
Wow.
We're not taking the time to get to know people.
Yeah.
We're not taking the time to put the ingredients into people and taste the sauce. And that's different.
I remember previous to Gail, which is my wife, I dated a young lady. Huh?
Shout out to Gail.
Shout out to Gail. So I dated a young lady and took her to a restaurant, and the whole time she was like this. I was like, don't you want to talk? I mean, yeah, I'm talking. I'm just handling something real quick. Okay. Never went out again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I find myself, I'm not like the most interesting man in the world, but at the same time, I can hold a conversation and be interesting. You know what I'm saying? I got that. But yeah, that told me a lot about people. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. So when somebody shows you who they are, trust it. When they show you, trust it. That's who they are. And believe that you're going to get that. That's the only expectation I have of people, is to be themselves.
Wow. That's really deep, because sometimes people don't realize what they just let loose, and those red flags just go off everywhere. You know, in today's society, you're a man and I'm a man. Ladies, I'm sorry, we don't have the ladies on today, but I promise we'll have you on at another time. But I think it is important. Just if I could go to what I call the backstage brothers talk for a second, and or the locker room talk. It's interesting. I find a lot of women who have said that guys don't think this way. They want to be abused, and they're doing all these things in the street. And well, I remember having a conversation with one young lady, and I said to her, I said, well, my friends are quality guys. They're professionals. They are actually busy on their craft. Mm-hmm. If you're lucky enough to catch them away from their craft, if anything else were to be the problem, it would be that they work on their craft to master it so much that they don't really have time for anything else. But when you get them, they're serious about you because they've learned to master their craft. And if you're part of that, you're the craft that they want to master. But it takes time.
A musician cannot marry or get with or spend time with a narcissist, because we're partially narcissistic. So it's like, you can't really, I don't know if that works. I don't see it working, but I don't know if it can, but yeah, we have a tinge of that, but it's in a different way. It's in a different way.
Well, I think what happens is people throw it around, though. They throw that, hey, I've been there. I understand it. Yeah. And a lot of people say, well, how is it that a financial expert and a musician and an athlete, well, listen, I've been all of those things from the days of my radio days to now. Yeah. And love hurts. Mm-hmm. Love hurts. And if you happen to try to fall in love with one of those narcissistic type of personalities, you need some therapy.
And narcissism is not the way people always define it. if you
Correct.
look up the definition of it, it's more so just a self-centered, type outlook. So if I'm, for instance, dating someone who is that way, and I'm at a gig, where are you? Why aren't you here with me? I want you here with me. Can we cuddle? No.
Those signs come out very much so. It comes out because they want to be the center of the attention, number one. Number two, there's going to be a competition with someone that is in the light because they're not the center of attention.
Right.
And then number three, the lifestyle of that personality trait, you're like a shining, blinging item when you're on stage or when you're in a level of position. And sometimes people don't realize that we're recognizing that you're the source, and you just have to be, I think Cat Williams said it best. Some people like that little bit of drama in their lives, but once you realize what the source is that they're after, then you can start weaning them off that source, and then they will just go away. But hopefully. But I can honestly tell you, it won't be without some damage and some scarring to your name and reputation and all those things. I hope to God that somebody out there that's listening today. No, I'm not a therapist, but I tell you, I have been a victim of that type of abuse myself. So I love sitting down talking to people about how to overcome something that they truly don't understand, and understand that what people think is the right upside way to do it is really upside down. And again, those are personality traits that I tell you, when you get to a certain level, that you may have to sit down and talk to a therapist and let them kind of educate you on the right way to handle this stuff, because the wrong way could definitely be a detriment to you in the long run.
Very true.
Tell me something. Tell me this. Tell me a little bit about, do you remember your first professional performance?
Meaning one I got paid for?
Yes. One that you had an audience. Maybe you had the feeling inside.
Yes.
What was the lights out moment, and then how did you overcome it?
My first performance, I'd have to say it was friend of mine, Eli Trofert. He's a pianist, keyboardist, whatever you want to call it. Called me to play at a restaurant in Coconut Grove that is no longer there, Coconut Grove, Florida.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, come jam with the fellas. Come play with us. We need you to play some lines and some songs and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right. Not, and now this was knowing that I could get paid. Now, previous to that, I had some gigs that I didn't know I was going to get paid on, and got paid and was like, ooh. So, that was lights on moment right there.
Right.
But
right.
The Coconut Grove gig, I got there, didn't know what to expect really, was really green when it came. I've been green for a long time. Got there, played a couple songs with no microphone or anything, and and it was like, I could do this. I can do this. This is something I can do. I enjoy this. This is fun. I'm getting paid for it. I can do this. This is something I can do.
Well, I could imagine when you first get paid, first of all, realizing we do know that people can get paid for music, but not everybody is sure that they could get paid as an artist, right?
Even artists nowadays not sure they can get paid as an artist.
Ooh, we're gonna talk about that one too. Oops.
Okay.
Oops. You must be reading my cue cards over here.
No.
because from that story to where you got to where your song "In a State,"
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorites. It's playing in the background right now. Now you have been seasoned. How does that come about? When you say I'm in a state, am I in a state of mind? What is the state of mind now?
Now, are you asking me my state of mind when I wrote In the State?
Yes.
Okay, In the State was a collaboration.
Okay.
A good friend of mine, Calvin, who's deceased, he wrote most of that song.
Okay.
I helped him arrange it and get the melody line straight and stuff, but he wrote most of that song. And he played it for me. We were at New Birth together. And he played the song, and I was like, this song is awesome. I want to do it. He said, yeah, let's go. Let's go to the studio. Went to the studio, laid it all out, had, intro and all this stuff. And I said, what are we going to call it? And we threw back and forth a couple of names. And what stuck was the mental place you're in when you're learning a song. It's kind of a flux. Some people get it right away. Other people have to work it and maneuver it. Other people need time to study it. The song has some difficult movements when you're playing it. When you're listening to it, it's easy on the ears. But when you're playing it, you're in a state. So hence the name In a State.
So that was what, 2007 when you released that song?
Yeah.
Okay, so where has that evolved to? When the Lights Go Out, Are You Ready? Started out as me tearing up my knee in the final day that I played basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And I no longer am going to get paid. And I had to shift.
Right.
But it turned into lights out moments that we can discuss about anything. But we're not going to stay there. We're going to talk about how we overcome it. It can be money. It could be a relationship. It could be a travel. We all have them. So where would you say that song has matured to now when you think about the same title? What is your state of mind in a sense today?
My state of mind has simplified. So not that I'm writing simpler songs, it's more so I have two categories of music, good and bad. If I listen to something and it doesn't sound good, it's out. If it sounds good, I'm good with it. Let's move. Let's move forward and build it. That's where my head is at now when it comes to writing music and developing music.
I think that's an interesting space. I mean, you're creative. So where does your inspiration come from when you're writing or when you're in music from? Is it coming from everywhere?
Everywhere. Most of those songs that on that first I Feel Ya album came either from working, like cooking, or being in church. So I would be in church and I'd be like, oh, and I'd sing into my phone or my sidekick that we had back in the day. I'd sing into something that could record it and get that in my head. Then I'd go home and try to develop it a little bit. And then I'd go see the doctor, Dario Edgecombe, producer. And we develop it, So
I think that goes back to what you said earlier, about, the people with mental health conditions and things like that. You have to be really careful to guard your sensitivity and your artistry, because if you're not feeling good, you're going to have that music that goes in that bad category. And then the people who listen to it are also ingesting that energy.
Exactly.
So how conscious of you of being mindful of your energy level when you're in the studio?
Very, very conscious. There are times when people would send me something to play on, and I'll listen to it and I'll be like, I can't do that. I can't. Oh, come on, you can play. You can. Yeah, I could play, but I can't play. It's like I could play on anything, but the energy I'm getting from this thing is not saying, Ron, play. It's not saying it. And there are times where somebody would let me listen to something. It's not even ready. It's halfway done. It's not mixed, whatever. And they'd be like, could you play on that? I'm like, yes, bring it. I'm with it. So energy is a lot. Energy is a lot. Some people fight through the energy and they play anyway, but I don't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. I can do it, but I don't want to.
That's really tough. I would imagine that's really tough because at the same time, I would think people kind of approach you sometimes just because you are a musician, that you can play anything at any time as if you didn't have any feeling behind it, not understanding that that feeling is what makes you different from everybody just playing the instrument.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense.
I know for myself, I think I'm a very empathic person. So I have to protect myself when I'm doing financial plans from people. Because when you talk about your health and your new wife, your business, I'm taking all that in, that information that people may not be aware. I'm taking all that in when we're designing and engineering a plan for you. And it needs to be able to flow with your lifestyle. Right. A lot of times, people get us confused with, the person that you can go and pick up things off the shelf. That's not the type of work we do. It's just not. But when you have something that you design that literally breathes with the person as they mature, it's kind of like I said about earlier, it's marinating. And a lot of people don't realize the ingredients until they're 10 years down the road and say, man, thank you for that. Yeah. That feels good. I understand now. Yeah. And, I think that's what your music does for me, because that's how I unwind so I can do what I do for the masses and put their plan together. So I really appreciate the fact that you do take that in mind. And, just be, I would like our listeners to know, just be conscious of how people's energy is when you meet. And it's not that people are being negative to you. Maybe the energy is just not right that day. And if it's that day, even if you're in marketing or sales or being in business, because really we're not just talking about music, we're just talking about business in general. That's probably the day, if your energy level is low, if you can, stay away from everybody. Reschedule.
Or reset.
Or reset if you can. If you can, reset. And I think that's important. Hey, well, I'm going to take a break for a moment. And when I get back, we're going to talk about the following of Ron James, because good segue here. We want everybody here to be part of our lifestyle focused community. Our community is full of people just like you, wanting to do what millionaires and billionaires do. We'll be right back. Hey, join our lifestyle focused wealth community. Membership starting at $16 a month when you pay the annual subscription. So register online today at www.lifestylefocusedwealth.com. There he is, and a big old stretch. So talk about it. We're back in Lifestyle Focused Wealth with Ron James. So Ron, what are you working on lately? Talk to us about what you got going on.
I have enough songs to release an album, and yet I have not done so yet. Just timing. I mean, I've been working on a lot of other people's stuff. I've been working on corporate events. Been doing this and that, and I'm even planning a career shift soon. So it's just a lot happening, and with all that's going on, I just haven't put that in the forefront. I haven't put it in the forefront because it takes a lot of resources to release an album. A lot of people think, oh, just release the songs. You already got them. It takes a lot of resources and planning, and it's a process you have to go through to release projects. It's not just boom. I know guys who release singles and have them on distribution, and it costs them $5,000 on the low end for one song. One song. So stuff ain't cheap.
Well, that leads right into our question. Is it possible to make a livable wage these days making jazz music? A little different. Each genre is a little different.
Oh, like releasing jazz?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. But
talk about it.
Be a fusion of some other music.
I like to talk about the background. Hey, look, you guys are the background for everything that's out there.
Because when we talk about jazz, are we saying straight ahead jazz? Are we saying smooth jazz? Are we saying contemporary, sea jazz? Are we talking about that kind of etherical meditation music? Are we Andre 3000 type music? Are we talking about what are we talking about? Because the genres have so been blurred, thinned out, and blurred that to really find a pure this is jazz. It's still out there, but I think the question you posed was, can you make a living wage with jazz? Yes, you can, most definitely. But you need to be the cream of the crop. That's my thought. In my opinion, you've got to be really good. Samara Joy, absolutely amazing voice. Grammys, #1 album. She makes a good wage, I'm sure. She tours. She's doing specialty stuff, featured artists and this and that, the third. Robert Glasper. Glasper does straight ahead stuff, but he likes to fuse it with our music, the hip hop, and stuff like that. And he does very well for himself. I ain't in his pocket, neither one of them, but at the same time, I know, that they do okay.
Right.
And there are a lot of people that just work as sidemen and make a good wage. I don't have to be the headliner. I don't have to be the guy in charge. I could play beside an artist and make a good wage and, support my family and stuff like that. So there are lots of ways to do this in this music business. There are people who don't leave their house. They do TV commercials. They do. I just saw your title go up. So they do TV commercials. They do movies. They do TV shows, all kinds of stuff. Don't leave their house and making a lot of money in music. There are a lot of ways to do it.
One of the big things about music, I am in music as well, and I understand today music is not just in general, the music business is what I'm speaking of when I ask, not just jazz musicians, but can you get paid in music? And then can you get screwed? Because today you have so many ways. You have distribution, you have the publishing, the marketing, everything is so watered down. How do you keep track with, where your money is? And I've seen several different guys on an album. Mm-hmm. No one even knows that they're even there. How do you've made a career being the side guy? Does that not make you want to jump to the front of the stage where you can eliminate as much of that as possible?
Well, what you're eliminating when you're the side guy is the pressure of being in charge. You don't have to worry about much stuff, being the side guy. So what do? If I'm playing a live performance, I go to the rehearsal, practice, live performance time come, I go and I play, I get a check and I go home. The guy in charge, not so much. He goes to the rehearsal. First of all, before the rehearsal starts, he's got to make a set list of all the songs, get the links for all the songs so they can listen to all the songs. He's got to get to the rehearsal spot before everybody else, make sure everybody's going to be straight with the sound and everything like that. Then the day of the concert, he's got to do the same thing. He's got to make sure everybody's straight with sound, make sure everything is cool. MD's work is a lot. Trey Gilbert, Jay Fly, all these guys who MD shows, it's a lot of work. And people look at it, and these guys are able to handle it because they're built that way. They're built for that. And, it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job at all.
For our
listeners,
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the MD stands for music directors, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
So I can watch you guys on stage, and I watch them playing their instruments and directing everything going on at the same time.
At the same time. Being aware of everything that's going on at the same time. Stuff that you're not even aware about, they're on it. It's a lot. Kudos to them guys.
Yes.
Because I've been the MD before, from my own stuff and other stuff too, but it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job.
Yeah, but that's a different quality. When you just said, first of all, you got to be at the highest level of what you do to be recognized. While performing, you got to listen for everyone else to be at their highest level and recognize it in time, in front of an audience. That is a whole nother level of expertise.
Definitely.
In itself. Shout out to Trey and shout out to Jay Fly and those guys as well for what they do is amazing. If you ever get to see it in concert, I mean, really pay attention to what's going on the stage. Sometimes it's not just the performer, but it's all the stuff that the musicians are doing that are not doing that make the experience.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're putting out some of these things. Those are just some of the secrets that I don't think people really are aware of when they go and watch you guys perform live. Share with us other ways that you've been able to leverage the music business. And when I mean by leveraging the music business, we're able to take the music business and like you said, you're getting ready to go through a little bit of a change in your lifestyle, right? And I hope behind the scenes that even our conversation here allows you and I to even get behind the scenes. I would love to sit down with you, consult with you a little bit on how to think about these things a little bit differently because it's just the business. And once we structure business, now we start figuring out ways to monetize or leverage what you're good at. And music isn't the only thing that Ron James is good at. Ron James is good at a few different things. A lot of people just don't know. So how have you been able to leverage what you've learned from the music business, the people that you've met, into what you've done in food, what you've done in this next venture? Talk about that for a moment.
The word leverage can sometimes take a negative connotation.
Sure.
I don't know if I've leveraged it so much as I've utilized, so much as I've not even maximized, but utilized music to live my life. There are just so many aspects of being a musician. And a lot of times, like you said, the average person looks at a musician and says he plays gigs and he goes home. Not thinking there are studio moments, there are moments TV, there are moments for movies, there are moments for different artists' albums. I play country music. I mean, it's like, there's so many different genres and avenue. They see a sax, they immediately think jazz. It's like, no, that's closed-minded. It's a lot broader than that. If you're as old as us, the 80s, every pop and R&B song had a saxophone in it.
Correct.
Late 70s, actually most of the 70s too. Most of those songs, if it was jazz, pop, R&B, soul, saxophone. It had a saxophone in it. Listen to Hall & Oates. Listen to, was it Journey? I mean, Chicago. Well, they had a horn section, but so many sax. I mean, it was like all over the place. So how could you say you play jazz, huh? When you see a saxophone, it's like, so the leverage in the music business it's so vast and it's available in so many different avenues. You could leverage it for, and this is all for monetary things,
Sure.
or just for attention. I mean, to get recognition.
Sure.
There's so many things, man. I mean, I don't know. I need to get a little more specific.
Well, let me help you with that. I can say for me, I've been able to leverage the music business because, one, I can't play an instrument. I can't sing a note. I can't do it. I love people who can.
Right.
Now, as a voiceover talent or a voice talent, I can speak over anything you want me to speak over. I can do the commercials. I can do the concerts. I can do all of those things. But I've been able to leverage the music business in such a way that I know that, one, music captures the soul. Music is one of those things I can be listening to and remember where I was when I first heard it. Music is almost the way that I think of water. If you really were to take a drop of water and you took an instrument and looked in it, you can see all the living organisms inside of that water, right? That one drop. Well, I see your music a little different. I see music and the music business as it holds my love life. It holds my grandparent, my friends that I've lost that are no longer around. It holds my childhood memories, high school memories. It holds a lot of different things. Your wedding. I don't think sometimes we even are so sure how much we leverage this in making relationships happen. I've been able to meet people like you because of music, the music business. Been able to walk the red carpet because of the music business. And I've also had an opportunity to make some money because of the music business. And having the opportunity to impact people, which you are, sometimes we don't have the 5,000 foot view or 50,000 foot view of really what it is that we have. And maybe you just haven't viewed it as leverage. But I tell you what, you've been able to make your career a long one. It's brought you to a place where, like you said, now you don't need as much in your life. You're beginning to minimize and prioritize, and it gets more simple. And I really think for you, Ron, I'll be honest with you, I think the best music is yet to come from you because you're getting more and more into that peaceful place. And I've talked about it. Music and food. Come on now. Music and food. I don't want to put you in the boat of a jazz musician because I know better. I know better. I don't want to come off as if I don't, because I want to look at you as just as a musician. a brilliant one at that,
Thank
that
you.
can play almost anything that your heart desires that you want to play. All right. So we're coming to the end of this thing, and I say this, and I mean this. Lifestyle wise, everybody comes to a point where they pivot, and I call this the pivot. This is the pivot conversation that we're talking about. Is hey, well, what's next? What's next for you to do? And I wouldn't want to take the leverage as negative, because here's the thing is, you can walk in a room and somebody like myself is going to say, man, that RJ, that song I got married to, or that song reminds me of a good place. That song, the energy in that music brings me to a good place. And because of that, I already have an idea of who I think you are before I meet you. And that relationship starts off from there and keeps going. So in your lifestyle, what's next? What's the pivot?
What's next for me? Well, I'm going to open another business. Nothing to do with music.
Okay, talk about it.
Nothing to do with food.
Okay.
It's more to do with real estate. Not a broker. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, that's coming. That's coming.
Love it.
But I'm still music. I mean, I can't shake that. I can't let that go. I can't put that aside. So, like I said, I have been writing music, and I have quite a few songs that have been developed, and even after the years of sitting on the shelf, they still sound good. So it's like, and that's not coming from me. That's coming from the very few people who have heard them. So yeah, I'm just being real. So
that's because you put your secret sauce on them, and it's been marinating for a while.
You know what? I gotta say, I would take credit, but I think most of those songs are inspired. I can't take all the credit for them, because there's a lot of times where I'll start singing a melody and not remember it at all. And the only reason that I remember it is I recorded it in my phone. So I know that it's not me doing it, But yeah, that's also next. I'm gonna release that album. I'm gonna do that. Website coming soon. It's getting worked on. So I'm trying to minimize the usage of secondhand streaming, because I don't want to be like, a lot of these large artists who have millions of followers and have millions of streams and get a check for $700. That doesn't even make sense. But yeah.
Well, we have to talk about that, because this is still lifestyle focused wealth.
Yeah.
What millionaires and billionaires do. I don't say I would like to offer you something. I would like to share how I describe myself. I'm a businessman that happens to be an insurance professional, an executive producer, a sports team owner, a real estate investor. I'm a businessman. There's much more to you. But the best way to say it is that you're a business person. Whether it's going to be music, food, real estate, or what have you, the structure of business and then how to capitalize on that business is still important. And that's what we focus on here. That's really what we're wanting to talk about. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't make money, it's wasting time.
If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. And we talk about money being, money is just like having a CD. It's just a promotional item that we hold in our hand and says, hey, we're supposed to have something. But the truth is, time is the most valuable asset that we have. So when you sit down and play back this interview, you'll see that we're not really talking about music or cash. We're really talking about how to capsulize and maximize our time and then monetize the time that we have. And that is where the internet is coming into play with your streaming. You know, I must say my good friend, Dr. Thomas Menza, passed away last month. And he's one of the inventors of fiber optics. And I know you got to meet him years ago at my gala. I think that was. And knowing someone who has the fingerprint on that technology that allows millions of streams to go out and for people to either be compensated fairly without having to go through the big company. That's important. When you set your company up, you know, you want to discuss some of the stuff that you may have to re-release it and resend it back through the channel the right way. You might be surprised because your stuff has had so much time to marinate, I would say. Okay. But with that being said, you know, what would be 2 items before I let you get out of here?
Okay.
What would be the one thing that if you could go back and change, would you change anything about your career?
Yes.
What would that be?
Well, I think for me, in my saxophonic career, I think I would have moved from Miami quicker. Like I would have been up here 98 instead of 2000 or 96 instead of 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was an indecision by me because when I was growing up, what I heard was musicians were broke. Musicians couldn't make money. That's a hobby. That's not a life. Can't do that. So that's all I heard going in my head. Hearing that and then seeing what I saw when I came to Atlanta was totally different. Totally different. And what I experienced myself, I was making more money in my side hustles when I was doing cooking and music. I was making more money in my side hustles at music than most people were making in their jobs. Wait, you got a 9 to 5 and I'm making more than you in 2 days?
Right.
So changing my mindset took me moving to Atlanta, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know?
So would you call that a lights out moment that you've had to overcome? Meaning the lights out moment that, hey, I think I stayed here too long.
Yeah.
I have another mastermind colleague of mine that we talk about what was the lights out moment in business. And one of the things was I should have believed in it earlier. I should have believed in myself earlier. I want to make sure I share this nugget with you. You know, Walmart, when you walk into Walmart, they don't have side gigs. They have a grocery store, electronics, clothing. You can even get your car fixed.
Tires.
You can get your taxes. It's Walmart. It's the business. My challenge to you, Ron James, is when we get off this broadcast that you no longer call it a side hustle. The truth is, you were making more money because you were in business. And you're not in sales, you were in business. And because you were in business every single day, whether it be food, whether it be music, whether it be whatever else you touched, movies, production, arranging, all the different things that you do. Those are just different departments in the Ron James building.
In the business. Yeah.
And
I come to that realization. That was when I first moved, you know. Like I said, coming to that realization that this is what I'm going to do forever, ever. that was, the lights on,
Well, I had this conversation with a very, I won't call it out the foundation, but it supports musicians that don't have any money now. I will talk to you about, okay, not as a musician, just as a business person, making sure that you have the benefit plan of most people that are CEOs of businesses.
Right.
Making sure you have your disability in place, your life, your health, your disability, your cash flow, the whole bit. Now you're married and, you got a whole family and a whole different things. Estate planning becomes the next gig for you, trust and wills and all those different things. And now you got property and assets, musical assets as well, that someone needs to know you have, and it needs to be put away so that it might not be Ron James, the person that sees these songs blow up. It may very well be after you.
Right.
Have you started taking steps to put that stuff together in that way?
Yes. Yeah, I have started to put things away because, for instance, if something were to happen to me.
Yes. We call that a lights out moment.
Right.
If the lights were to go out.
If the lights were to go out, my music and catalog would go to my kids.
Through a trust, I hope.
Huh?
Through a trust, I hope.
Yeah, I'm actually working on that part.
Good deal.
The whole trust part.
I can't be the financial expert and not let you slide now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, my father gave me some land. Taking that land and also placing it in the trust as well. The house that we live in right now, we're probably going to get another one, and then that will be placed in the trust as well. Everything's going to be placed in the trust pretty much, so make sure all the children are taken care of. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, to make sure that we're covered as well. So, yeah.
That sounds like you'll be coming to my office sometime really soon.
Oh, yeah.
Well, listen, Ron, I want to thank you for your time today and spending some time to come on my side of the fence every once in a while and share with us what your hopes, dreams, and your goals are. I hope that we're looking to find out a lot more about what is to come. And I want to share some ideas about how you can leverage the music for your new upcoming real estate business opportunities. If you're open to having that conversation, definitely we should do that.
Sure.
And meet Miss Gail and please send her my love, thanking you for coming. But I got to thank her now for allowing you to be here because you no longer wear the pants now. No, you got to wear shorts.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, leg day, bro. Leg day. That's what we got to work on, leg day. All right. And so listen, with that being said, we're going to wrap up here. I want to thank you guys for listening. This is Ron James. Thank you, Ron, for coming. And I just look forward to pumping some more of your music. And I am so happy to be able to call you friend and having you around. So, hey, thank you so much for being a part of our show today.
Likewise, man. It was a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to share.
Hey, thank you guys out there for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey, this has been When the Lights Go Out. Our lifestyle-focused jazz segment, Money and Music, has just come to an end for part one. And we look forward to hearing from you more in the future. So I'm Ronco Johnson, your host, signing off. When the lights go out, are you ready?